Well, it's Friday, and of course, it is the last official workday of the week. Welcome to the platform, the last edition for this week, right here on Flow 94.9 FM. This is the flow of God's own state, and it is the pinnacle of all discussions as we take a look at issues as it affects our dear nation, Nigeria. Welcome. My name is Michael Oni. Now, this morning, we're taking a look at the issues happening in Edo State as we will bring you up to speed. Those issues are happening so fast that we need to track them and, of course, get you informed and do the analysis this morning, talking about the battle for the ruling All Progressives Congress APC governorship ticket in Edo State, which is panning out as a two-horse race between Governor Godwin Obaseki and Pastor Ize Iyamu. Now, the duo were the chief combatants in the 2016 governorship election, won by the incumbent governor. Then Pastor Ize Iyamu was of the PDP, but now he's of the APC as he decamped. But after several weeks of horse trading and negotiations that nearly broke down, 6 governorship aspirants, Dr. Pius Odubu, Engineer Chris Ogemonyi, Major General Charles Ahiebere, retired, Johnson Agbonyima, Saturday Owulikwe. I hope I'm not murdering those names anyways. And also one particular aspirant stepped down, and they all stepped down. About 7 of them stepped down for Pastor Ize Iyamu as their consensus governorship aspirant for the June 22 governorship primary election. Now, the 7th aspirant, Solomon Edebere, was said to have voluntarily withdrawn from the race, and it was gathered that negotiations for the aspirants to agree on the consensus was reached. That was on Tuesday night in Abuja, and Pastor Ize Iyamu, who was said to have come tops after screening by the committee set up for the election exercise. Now, the incumbent governor, talking about Governor Godwin Obaseki, has picked his nomination form and expression of interest forms from the headquarters, APC headquarters in Abuja, to participate in the 22nd of June primary. And the forms were picked on his behalf by an Abuja-based group, Obaseki Mandate Forum. The chairman of the forum, Chief Nathaniel Momo, told journalists shortly after picking the forms that most of the members of the group are card-carrying members of the APC in Edo State. Do not forget that the National Working Committee reached a decision that it is going to be direct primaries in that particular election. That's a pre-election, of course, to select who will be the flag bearer of the party, the APC in Edo State. Well, this morning, when we say direct primaries, it means all the card-carrying members of the party will participate in the election, will participate on who will be the flag bearer in choosing who will be the candidate of the party in the forthcoming elections, talking about the governorship election in Edo State that will take place later this year, September. Now, this morning on the platform, we are weighing on the battle for Edo State prom job and the race for the government house, the seeming unending fight between the godfather and the godson. We have a rich cast on the other of analysts who will help us make meaning to the entire drama. And from here in Umuahia, the former secretary to Abia State government and a renowned journalist is joining me this morning on the program, Chief Raf Egbo. Good morning to you, Chief.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
And from Benin City, that's the capital of Edo State, a pioneer Edo State APC publicity secretary of that's the party in question this morning, and also a former NUJ chairman, Comrade Godwin Ehilian, will join us later on the program. We also have Otumba Mike Aledenika, a former NUJ chairman in Edo State, who will give us an independent account of events in Edo State. So it's going to be a rich program this morning. It will be of interest if you sit by your radio set, as we have a very interesting program this morning. Well, we'll begin with our analyst in the studio, Chief Raf. The fight between godfather and godson. It is not new in the political system in Nigeria. and I'm sure you're not new in the system. So what do you make of this dirty fight in court in Edo State?
What would I make of this? Your question seems to capture the essence. It's a dirty fight. It boils down to what we have. We call it hybrid kind of democracy. A democracy that is yet to take form and shape, where the political culture still remains extremely very rudimentary. Otherwise, why would the talk be of a godfather and a son? I remember, we recall that Comrade Oshiomhole, who is the National Party chairman, climbed the seat of the governorship on a progressive platform. Yeah. And he was talking then that one of the biggest achievements he has recorded in Edo State is the banishment of the phenomenon of godfatherism.
And, you remember the Igbinedion family?
The Igbinedion family, the man that died, Anini. Yes. I hope he's Anini, former chieftain of the People's Democratic Party and all that. And then he was clapping. And we all of the progressive bent thought that was a good dawn for the politics in Edo State. But suddenly, we began to witness a negative turnaround. I don't think that is positive. I feel greatly concerned, taking the fact that Oshiomhole is not just a former governor. That would have been a different thing. He could have his interest. What is the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC? To that extent, I would have expected that his roles would have been much more called positively implanting. I would have wanted to see a man with larger heart. I would have wanted to see a man who would gather his
okay. Before we go into the role of Oshiomhole in the midst of everything happening in Edo State, I want us to take a look at the politics of godfatherism. Is it on a positive note for electioneering process as far as party politics is concerned in Nigeria?
Well, it can be positive, it can be negative. It depends. That is why I started first by talking about the political culture.
Okay.
If you have a political culture, people will always support people, even in America. Well, without the Bill Clinton.
When you say people supporting people, it's quite different. We're talking about godfatherism
That's what I'm
here.
saying. It's just a question of either semantic or nomenclature. Without the Obamas, without the Clintons and the little route into the Kennedys, there won't be Obama. The same thing for Clinton. So I am saying that it's a question of, but when you come to the normative functions, that is where we should quarrel. In America, they can do their dirty intrigues. Politics is about intrigues. You are allowed to do your intrigues, but let a sound and credible electoral process, signature, signpost, who goes where. I don't know whether you understand what I'm talking about. It's a bit technical here. I'm saying that we need a sound political culture that after we have played our intrigues, we come to, let's say, party primaries. You'll soon be talking about direct or indirect. If it is direct, you allow the people to express their
opinion,
choice. There will always be, I am not afraid of maneuvers. There will always be maneuvers. Some of them can be nasty. That is what politics is all about. But what defines it and later refines it, it's a credible electoral process. In our own case, the American case, it was like that. They had their bad times. There were times courts were everywhere. There were times political parties were representatives and symbols of individuals. But the difference is that for each aberration that they found, for each aberration that they discovered, there was a willingness, immediate willingness to offer correction. So they say, okay, you George Washington, you want to produce this man, James Hamilton, whoever, but let us be subject to the choice, the sovereignty.
Just a moment, Chief Raf. We have someone joining us all the way from Benin City in Edo State, a former NUJ chairman in Edo State. Otumba Mike. I would like you to confirm your name, Otumba. Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. My name is Michael Oni.
My name is Otumba Mike. Aladenika.
Okay, Otumba Mike Aladenika. Glad to have you join us this morning. Well, we're monitoring events there in Edo State, and we want to have an idea of what is happening from an independent account as you are. And of course, we're seeing it as a dirty fight for those of us that are not in Edo State. You know, we're far away from Edo State, but we're monitoring events, so we're seeing it as a dirty fight. So what is really happening there in Edo State?
It's a statement of fact that the Edo State is due for elections this year, gubernatorial. That's a fact. And it's also a fact that INEC has stated its willingness to conduct the election despite the global pandemic that we have. That is another fact. There's also another fact that the parties are also ready to conduct their primaries and submit the names of their flag bearers for the elections.
Okay.
That's a fact. The other fact is that the people are also ready to vote. So when you put all the summation of these facts together, which implies by the expiration of the ongoing tenure, there will be a new government in Edo State, QED. These are the basic facts. Then when you now look into workings of these facts, as it concerns the stakeholders, INEC is putting its house together. Are you there?
Yes, I'm with you.
INEC is putting his own house together for the conduct of quote-unquote free and fair elections. Mm-hmm. The parties are also tidying their tables for their primaries. The two principal parties have indicated and given their calendar for the conduct of their primaries, the APC and the PDP, while the remaining silent parties are also doing their own things, their own silent ways. But you and I know that in Nigerian body politics, it is APC and PDP that are the front runners.
Yes, are the two major political parties.
The satellite may be on these two parties. So the Ditto Edo State, the satellite is on these two major parties. So the two parties are also working their lines towards doing that. As we speak, in APC, Pastor Ize Iyamu has picked form. The incumbent governor has also picked form. In PDP, Engineer Gideon Hile has picked form, and I think Ize Iyamu has also picked form. So, you know, that's the way each and every one of them are building up the tempo towards the eventual conduct of the election.
Okay, Otumba Mike, we're so much interested in the party politics and the intrigues playing out in the All Progressives Congress, the party in power there in Edo State. It looks like there is a fight to ensure that Obaseki doesn't return back to the government house.
It's good that you use the word intrigues. That is the bottom line. Intrigues and the fact that the incumbent governor does not return. It is highly unfortunate that in party politics in Nigeria, I don't know if the Western democracies that we are emulating went through this phase too. I don't know. And I've not read it in their history that they went through this phase. Party politics in Nigeria is such that the party presents their candidate for the electorate, who are supposed to be the masses of the people to vote for. Okay? And it is supposed to be that after elections, quote and unquote, that party that emerged, let's assume now, Governor Obaseki, was presented by APC then some 3.5 years ago as its candidate. When he emerged, to all reasonable senses, he ceased to be the governor of APC, then became the governor of Edo State. His first constituency should be Edo State and not his party. But that does not imply that he will not have some soft spots for his party and party members. But what we see today is that once a party throws a candidate and the candidate eventually wins, should the candidate, for whatever reason, says he's going to work for the people, he has put himself in trouble. Example is Ambode in Lagos. Ambode worked against the system, quote and unquote, that I will not do this, I will not do this, I will do this. For example, in one of the write-ups I read about Ambode in Lagos, he gave contract out without due cause to the leadership of the party in the locality. But the contract he gave out then was for the interest of the people. Similar things are happening in those days. The allegations we are seeing is that the governor has collected money so much and there are nothing staying on ground. One begins to wonder, are we all living in a good place?
Just a moment now. The governor and some of his aides have come out to say, well, we are trying to stop godfatherism. Everything that is happening right now, we were being taught by our Oga, that's the APC chairman, Comrade Adams Oshiomhole. And of course, that there are allegations of corruption leveled against the former governor when he was the governor. I mean, the APC chairman, Comrade Adams Oshiomhole. The issue of the specialist hospital also in place. Also, these are some of the reasons as put together by the aides responding to some of these issues about the aides of Governor Godwin Obaseki that warranted this fight. Like, okay, we do not want godfatherism. We do not want to stick of Comrade Adams Oshiomhole back home during this election.
So, one thing in their party is such that when politicians are into selections like this, they call themselves names. Hitherto, they used to eat together, and after which they will still eat together. But because of the competition that has brought into these elections, they call themselves names. It is true. All the things you have just said,
okay,
that the people loyal to the incumbent governor, because the governor and his then godfather have issues. As we speak, the both of them have not told us what these issues are. They have not told us why they are quarreling. They have not told us. It's only the sympathizers that are crying more than the bereaved. Oshiomhole has not told us. Oshiomhole has not told us what Obaseki did wrong. Obaseki has not also told us what Oshiomhole did, overbearing or not overbearing. Because some people are saying that Oshiomhole became overbearing. That Oshiomhole wanted to be the de facto governor. I mean, the real governor, while Obaseki is the book governor. You know, these are issues and intrigues amongst themselves.
Okay. Otumba Mike, just a moment now. In all these, PDP came out and said, well, our doors rather are open for the incumbent governor to defect and cross carpet to our party. Does the governor stand a chance if he moves into another party, maybe the People's Democratic Party?
Okay, now, from that statement of PDP, what message does that pass to you? For an opposition party to say an incumbent governor is free to join us and fly our ticket, which implies the governor has done well. If he has not done well, the opposition party is supposed to go for that party jugular and kill the party and kill the candidates and kill all of them. But because the opposition party, the PDP in the state, felt that this man has really done well, if they are killing you, they come here, we will give you a ticket. I don't know if it passed a message to you.
I'm getting your analysis.
So if an opposition party will throw its doors open, that young man, you have done well, you will win an election on our platform any day, any time. You come over. But his party is saying he has not done well. We all live in the city. For example, where I live, the 8 years of Oshiomhole, I rode on high drive, 4 cars, I lost it to the road. Today, I am driving on low drive. I don't lose anything because the roads are good. So then, how then do you now want to compare notes? The politicians should wake up that it is first service to the people, not service to a handful of people. But because it is the politicians that will throw off the candidates for the people to vote for, that is where the system is having such issues like this. If a government is doing well, forget about the fact that it's only a dosage. It could happen anywhere. If a government decides to say, I want to do well, I want to write my name, the party politicians will certainly rock the boat. That is what we are seeing in Edo State.
Otumba Mike, I want to really appreciate your time this morning on the program, and of course your analysis this morning. It's actually quite insightful. Well, we understand what is happening there in Edo State, especially from an independent ground. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, brother.
Thank you. Well, that's Otumba Mike Aladenika, the former NUJ chairman in Edo State. They're giving us an insight into what is happening. Now, let's get back to Chief Rafebu. You heard that analysis. I want to ask you, which party do you think really controls Edo State with the look of things right now?
So politics is always fluid because once you are narrowing down to election period, different factors will come. Whether you like it or not, at the level where a clan will come. You know, the Ebini is one of the overbearing, do you call it clan or tribe in that state?
Okay.
Then the parties will come. The two parties are capable. You remember that before the climb of Oshomole,
yes,
some 8 years, or is it some 8 or 12 years ago, the towering party there is remained the People's Democratic Party. And there's one analysis I want to make here that I tell my friends. There is no way you can wish away in any nation or society the party of the conservatives. They are money people. They will always have their grouping. In Nigeria, the party of the money men and the conservatives for today is People's Democratic Party.
Okay.
Wherever you find them.
Can you take that again? That's my take home maybe this morning. The party for the money men.
Yeah, party for the money men, business class.
Okay.
In Nigeria
remains
the
PDP.
Okay. Anytime T. So anywhere you find them, there will always be a factor, because the politics has inherent in it. Apart from tribe, apart from these intrigues and gang-ups, you also find money. Money is money, especially anywhere you need money. So to say this party or the other party, given the way they are going, APC is already wounding itself instead of going to the polls.
Now another question is, must we go about this infighting every time we have an election? What does this say about our political parties? We have a whole lot of them, and we keep going rigmaroling round the same circle every time we have an election, a major election coming up in this country. The same thing with other states. It's not only peculiar to Edo State.
Yes, I have said that is why I said I find it difficult doing the Nigerian analysis, because we must approach matters from the root. And I say there is need for us to really sit down again and define our own kind of. Remember, I used the word rubric, bringing in both civilian and military type of tendencies, impunity, force, and all that, and aligning the contemporary atmosphere we have of hunger to influence behavior. So we must begin to sit down. You won't believe that in the last 15 years or 21 years of democratic practice, about 15 or so years of it, you've never had an all-party summit. Parties are submit. I called for an
We have IPAC.
The IPAC is the association of failed political groups.
You say failed?
They lost and they want to establish. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about all of us. I'm a political player. I'm talking about at the national level, we sit down and for the first time tell ourselves the truth.
Okay.
That what we are doing cannot lead to the kind of development they see elsewhere that make us always want to rush to. We must sit down and define it. All right. And we must be able to say politics should be service push. So if you have it, what is happening in Edo is over money. It's not even godfatherism.
All right.
Somebody wants to sit about money. He said pay money to a specialist hospital. And the incumbent says that is not my priority. Now you see the problem of vision, problem of concept.
Just a moment. Please hold your thoughts, Chief Rafebu. This morning we have someone joining us all the way from Edo State again this morning, from Benin City, the pioneer of Edo State, APC Publicity Secretary of, talking about the party in question this morning, and also a former NUJ chairman, Comrade Godwin. Comrade Godwin, I want you to confirm your name before we begin the conversation this morning. Good morning to you.
Yes, good morning, listeners.
All right. Can you confirm your name, please?
Comrade Godwin Irahon.
Okay, Comrade Godwin Irahon. Glad to have you join us this morning. You're a member of the APC.
Yes.
And we're so much interested in what is happening in your party. It looks like there is a dirty fight ongoing. I don't know if I'm correct. How dirty is this fight?
Yes, it is as dirty as the incumbent governor wants it to be.
Okay.
Yes.
My question is, what is the root of the problem? Because if we cannot get to the root of the problem, then there is no solution.
Yes, yes. Well, unfortunately, it's also good for you to know that Gordon Obaseki, apart from being my namesake and younger one, we are both Benin. And so we are from the same Central District, the Benin Kingdom. And I want to make it clear that the root of the crisis, so to say, is because of the depth of bitterness in the heart of Gordon Obaseki. As soon as he came into power, first, it's important for you to know that he was never a member of APC. Neither has he ever voted in Edo State until his own election. But as soon as he won election and he was inaugurated, he said all those who didn't support him during the primary are his enemy. And he has no business with them. He was going to retire them. And he also said whoever didn't win his unit during his own election cannot be patronized by the government. So the extent that even when some of them were nominated...
Before you continue, was he referring to Oshiomhole? Because and another question is, did Oshiomhole won his unit during the election?
Oshiomhole will not only win his unit, he won his unit, his ward, his local government, his Central District.
Then why then Oshiomhole is being regarded as an enemy in this case?
No, that's the point I'm making.
Okay.
I want to let you know that because of that, he alienated all the pillars, the really strong leaders of APC across the state. And then it was just an attempt to ensure that he kept some people, majority of the people away, so that he does things his own way. And Oshiomhole called him and said, look, you don't play politics with such acrimony. You want to call a stakeholders meeting. You excluded people who are the founders of the party, people who were even your opponents in the primary, and who you are supposed to have drawn near. And instead of you to bring everybody close, it doesn't mean that when you bring people close, you start giving them money, but at least let them show them some relevance in the party. He said no, that he has no business with them, that all those other old politicians, he's retiring all of them. So after a long time, Oshiomhole tried to broker peace, telling him that the people you say you don't need now, on the day of the election or the time of election, you need them. And those are the people whose voices their communities recognize as political leaders in their area. So after a long time on this, and incidentally, I also met the governor. I told him, I said, look, you may do well as a governor, but I can assure you that the way you are going, you are creating record as the most embittered governor.
Okay, it's just a moment now. Let me cut in here. It's been said that this fight is a fight against godfatherism, which Oshiomhole fought against when he was the governor and before he became the governor and ruled for 8 years now. Governor Godwin Obaseki has come out to say, well, it's a fight against godfatherism, which has not helped Edo State in any way. So how do you react to this?
That is far from the truth. In the first place, there is no, Obaseki has never said that Oshiomhole trying to impose anybody on him as an appointee, or that he demanded a contract from him. But the point I'm making to you now is that Oshiomhole, as somebody who has been an organizer all his life, and who also organized APC in Edo State, remains bitter that all those who helped him to organize the party have been alienated and then maligned by Obaseki. And he did everything possible to try to reconcile all of us. As I speak with you, myself and Oshiomhole, we had our own clash, a very serious one, in 2016. So we are not in good terms. But on issues as this, as journalists and as as a Christian of the Baptist denomination, I will treat every issue as they are. The point I'm telling you now is that the cross of the matter is that the Oshobo say, carry everybody along.
Yes.
How will you be a governor? You will say that leaders of the party cannot enter government house unless on your own invitation. You are having party meeting. You are calling what you call a caucus. You establish your own caucus in the party. Former speakers in the state assembly are not members. Former chairmen of the legacy parties. I have told you I was the chairman of CPC in Edo State. Former chairman of legacy parties are not part of it. If all those who really mattered in the system, who helped him to become a governor, they are not part of the caucus, then you are talking of stakeholders, you don't recognize them. Can you believe that Obaseki so did that wards that are maybe even up to 60 kilometers away from Benin City, he will post any DG of that ward in Benin City, whom he believes is close to him, post him to that ward and say that one is now the party leader in the ward. And in most cases, such persons get there, nobody knew him. He has never played politics in the area. His bitterness is as bad as that.
All right.
So that has been the genesis. And that is why Oshobo has so many people on his side. Because Obaseki alienated the vast majority, more than 90% of the party leaders.
Okay, Comrade Godwin, we want you, beyond party politics now, we want you to say something about the incumbent governor's performance.
About his what?
About his performance.
Oh, in performance, he has tried relatively compared to those who were there before Comrade Oshobo. He has tried in so many areas. He pays salaries as I went due. That has been a very good one. In the area of rules, he has attempted some rules, but in any way, there is no way you can compare his achievement with
but it looks like his main offense now, what he has done now, is for him not to recognize the party structure, especially from the center, and he might not get the party's nod in the forthcoming election. Talking about
it is impossible. It's practically impossible.
So you're saying he cannot get the nod of the party to be the flag bearer of that party?
I can bet that even if he is going to be the returning officer, it is not possible for him, because
you just called him high performance-wise. Then does he not deserve a second chance?
No, what I'm assuring you is that I have told you that yes, he has performed well in some areas, but that is not to say that we don't have leaders who could do much better than that.
Okay.
That is it. But in any case, how do you do well and within the party where you were not, who would have brought you into their fold and made you a candidate, and then you now said you don't recognize the founders of the party? There is no way. You have lost the grassroots.
Okay. All right. We do appreciate your analysis this morning, Comrade Godwin, the APC Publicity Secretary of, the Publicity Secretary, former Publicity Secretary of the All Progressives Congress, pioneer Edo State APC, actually, the pioneer Publicity Secretary, and the former NUJ Chairman. I really want you to help me with your name. I do not want to murder your name, Comrade Godwin. I mean the full name.
Again, Comrade Godwin
Erahon. All right. Thank you very much for your time this morning. I do appreciate it. All right. Well, there you have another angle. It looks like this angle is coming from Obaseki's, Comrade Adam Soshiomole's point of view. What do you make of what is happening right now? I think we have.
What do you make? If you were a judge, wouldn't you have decided this case straight away?
I'm not a judge. I'm not
Somebody
a judge.
Comes and tells you a governor has done well, and then you are quarreling that he didn't see. It is the governor's prerogative to say who he wants to see.
Do you think he should defect to a PDP now that PDP's doors are open?
I don't see him, except the one crisis. I don't even see him losing unless he's not a governor in Nigeria.
Someone is authoritatively saying
which
that
he's an outsider.
He's a member of the party.
He may not be. I'm a politician. He's not a delegate.
Okay.
Even in the world, if you talk of the world,
he's a card-carrying member, and it's going to be direct primary chief.
Let me tell you what will happen. I can predict accurately what will happen in the Edo State. What will happen is that if, let me make a very straight categorical statement.
Okay.
If Oshomole was not the national chairman of APC, he was as good as gone. And that is just the only factor. I am sure.
It means he's powerful. National chairman of the party.
In subversion. Because I am sure that the governor, you are talking of direct primaries, and I know the Nigerian system. I want to believe that the governor will control beyond 2/3 of the local government. So if things were properly done, I don't see Obaseki. But if it's not properly done, and there is no, in fact, the failure of intervention from the higher levels of the party is the failure of the APC side.
Interesting.
Because I am one of